In this video, we are going to discuss about Java buzzwords or features of Java. That means what are the different principles followed by Java, not object-oriented principles. This is specific. These are specific to only Java. So these are the main buzzwords or properties of Java. The first one is simple, object-oriented, portable, platform-independent, secure, robust, architecture-neutral, dynamic, interpreted, high performance, multi-threaded, and distributed. So these are the different buzzwords or properties of Java. We'll see one by one. So first one is simple. So why Java is simple? As we know, Java is it's like advanced version of the previous languages like C and C++. So most of the features which are covered in C and C++ that we are going to again study in Java. So as we know the previous programming language, it becomes very simple, and whatever the complicated topics or confusing topics are there in C++ like operator overloading or pointers, those concepts they have removed from Java. So obviously there is no complicated thing in Java, and so we can call Java as simple. And coming to object oriented, we know so Java is object oriented programming. That why? Because it follows all object oriented principles like encapsulation, polymorphism, abstraction, and inheritance. And we know everything in Java is objects and classes. So that's why you're calling Java as object oriented programming. And next is platform independent. So in the previous video we have discussed about platform independence. The main aim of Java is to achieve platform independence. So platform independence in the sense write once, run anyway. So that principle you're calling as ORA. So write once, run anyway. So you are simply writing once, you're writing Java file and you're compiling it and you're getting .class file, and you can execute this .class file anywhere in any platform, and that feature you're calling as platform independent. And next is secure. We know the main aim of, one more aim of Java is to provide security for your data. So using classes. So within class you're declaring data so that the data can be accessed by only those methods. And we don't have any pointer concept here. So pointer means actually it is address of data. So if anyone able to access the address of your data, in the sense he has every right to modify your data, access your data, or he can delete your data also. But here we don't have any pointer concept directly. That means you cannot access any variable address or any method address directly. That's why there is no problem with the security. So we are not going to share your data with anyone. So that is the feature called secure. And next is robust. The general meaning of robust is strong. So why Java is strong? So it has strong memory management, As we discussed in the previous videos, like the object, the memory will be allocated using new operator. So here the memory will be allocated dynamically. So in C, to allocate the memory dynamically, we are using MLR. Okay. So if you allocate the memory dynamically, at the end of the program, you need to free that memory. You need to release that memory. If you forget to release the memory in C language, this memory will be wasted. For example, if you are using 20 bytes of memory for this program, 20 bytes, and you forgot to free this memory, that means release this memory. So this space will not be used for the second program or any other program. This will be locked by this program only. Until unless you release that memory, that will not be released. After some programs, if you follow the same procedure for some 10 programs, after 10 programs the complete memory will be filled. So at that time you will get the error, memory out, memory full, memory overflow. So like that you will get some errors. But here in Java, even if you forget, that means we don't need to release that memory. So whenever you allocate the memory dynamically using an operator, the memory will be allocated. But after completing your program, that means whenever you complete your program, before this program, it will release the memory automatically. We are not going to release this using any statement. The memory will be released automatically, and that process is called as automatic garbage collection. Automatic garbage collection. And also we have default exception handler system in Java. Default exception handler system in Java. So exception in the sense, whenever you get an error at the runtime, that you're calling as exception. For example, I told you that memory exception, memory error. So that is dynamic memory, right? So whenever you allocate using MLOp, the memory will be allocated dynamically. That means it can know whether the memory is there or not at runtime only. That means you can able to compile your program, but only at the time of runtime you will get the exception memory overflow. So here, to solve those type of situations like memory overflow or divide by 0, so those type of exceptions automatically solved by Java. So this feature is called as exception handling. So in Java we have a default exception handler. So if we get any runtime exception, it will not halt the program, it will not stop the program. It will give you a proper output where you are getting exception and what type of exception you are getting. So because of these features, we can call Java as robust, that means strong. And next is architecture neutral. So if we observe C, for example 32-bit system, if it is a 32-bit system, the integer size is 2 bytes in C. And if it is a 64-bit system, the integer size is 4 bytes. That means based on the architecture, the size of the data type is changing. But in Java, it's not like that. Whether you follow 32-bit or 64-bit, the integer size is 4 bytes only. Not only for integer, for any data type, the size is fixed irrespective of the architecture. That's why you're calling this property as architecture neutral. Irrespective of architecture, the data type size is neutral. So that you're calling as architecture neutral. And next is portable. We know the meaning of portable. So laptop is portable, that means we can carry it to anywhere. The same way here, dot class file, whenever you compile your Java code, you're getting dot class file. This you're calling as actually bytecode. Later in later videos we will discuss what is meant by bytecode. Okay, so this dot class file is also called as bytecode. Now this bytecode you can carry it to anywhere. That's why you're calling this feature as portable. Portability in the sense you can carry it to anywhere. And next is high performance. Obviously Java has high performance. Why? Because it is related to the previous programming like C and C++, and along with that it checks the errors in 2 levels like compilation as well as interpretation. So Java is both compiled and interpreted language. So actually both are translators at the same time, both will check the errors, but here the Java follows compiled as well as interpretation. So the compilation will be done at compile time only, and the interpretation will not be done explicitly, but it's a part of JVM that will be done at runtime. So because of this 2-level error checking also, we can call Java as high performance. And next is distributed. So as we discussed in the Java history, Java also supports internet applications. That means if you want to share or if you want to distribute your application throughout the network, yes, it is possible, and this property you are calling as distributed. A single Java application can be distributed among the network, in the network among different systems. That means one system can communicate with another system using RMI, remote method invocation. That means you're calling a method which is available in the remote system, not in your system. You're not calling your own method, you're calling the method which is available in the other computer or remote computer. So that is possible using RMI, remote method invocation. So generally this will be used in projects purpose. So distributed in the sense a single project can be distributed over the network. And next is multi-threaded. So for example, my program is having 3 different parts. In the first part, I just want to print 1 to 10 numbers, and the second part 20 to 30, and third part 40 to 50 numbers. So here my single program is performing 3 different tasks. And if I observe, these three tasks are independent. That means without these two, or without the result of these two, it can solve its own problem. The same way remaining two also. So if your program is containing multiple tasks, and at the same time if they are independent, then you can divide your program into multiple parts, and each part you're calling as a thread. So that thread is nothing but it's a part of program, and you can simultaneously execute all these threads at a time. At a time in the sense not at a time. Why? Because we have only one processor. So the first processor will be given to first thread. So 1 to 10. Whenever the process is idle in this thread, that means if the system is waiting for any input device or output device, the processor will be idle. In that case, the processor will jump to the second thread. That means it will not waste the time. So whenever the second thread is free, then it will go to the third one. So like that, the processor will jump from one thread to other thread instead of wasting the CPU time. So this process is called as multi-threaded, and because of this multi-threaded, the program performance will be increased. Obviously the performance will be increased because you're not wasting a single second or nanosecond of CPU time. So that is about different Java properties or buzzwords of Java, and this is the end of this video. Thank you.